Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. I know that I've said Happy New Year before. I'm not going to inundate you with Happy New Year's, but we are officially 3 weeks into the new year, and it feels like it should still be December 27th, at least in my mind. I'm a little burnt out and overwhelmed. My life has been a little chaotic, not just the holiday prep and people visiting and hosting and, frolicking, but there's also just been a lot to do, a lot of work. And this year, I don't have a vision board event to attend. And I have a cousin who usually throws a vision board party. And I have to admit that has been something that I always look forward to. I had never done one until I went to her event. I had never done a vision board. But I've always set intentions, goals, desires, sat down and really thought about what I wanted my season to look like, whether that season was a year or 3 months, or maybe I was just setting a new life goal. Tonight, we're talking about setting a course. If this is your first time catching one of my lives, my name is Naomi. I go by the How To Chick. I'm a child of God, a wife, a mom, an attorney, a coach, a mentor, and a speaker. But most importantly, I believe you can do anything, but you can't do everything and you have to choose wisely. And it's Wednesday, so you know that I have to go live at 9 p.m. to talk a little bit about life, a little bit about love, a lot about relationships, most importantly, the relationships that we have with God and with ourselves, because I believe those are the most important relationships that we will ever have. And so I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about that. And if this is your first time catching one of my lives, like, subscribe on my business page, The How To Chick. If you're following me on my personal page, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hopefully, I will see your comments. I've had some issues with Facebook showing comments from that page before, but I want to engage with you guys tonight on setting course. There's a scripture in the Bible that many of us know. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know I'm unapologetically a God girl, but anyone who goes to church, who has attended church for any reasonable length of time, has heard, write the vision, make it plain. And, when it comes to New Year's, everyone's talking about resolutions, everyone's talking about goals, but what everyone's not talking about is the science, the social science, and all of the facts that show that most of us that set the huge resolutions, this will be the year that I lose the 25, the 30, the 50 pounds. This will be the year that I finally finish that degree. This will be the year that I quit that dead end job. This will be the year that my side hustle becomes my full-time job. Whatever that resolution is, we are almost to January 17th. And January 17th is officially and unofficially one of my best friend's birthdays, but also known as Quitter's Day. And it's not January 17th. It's just January 17th this year. It's the third Friday in January. Social scientists have proven and studies have shown that by the third Friday in January, all of our good intents, all of our desires to eat keto, eat clean, go to the gym every day, get 10,000 steps in, get up at 6 a.m., go to bed by 9:30 p.m., all of those things tossed out the window, and we've returned to our prior habits. And tonight, we're going to talk about some simple ways that we can use to not be in that number on Quitter's Day, and ways that we can affect long-standing change or achieve goals in our lives. And I've talked to you guys a lot before about my method of goal setting. I used to be an ABC to Z contingency plan planner who had a dream, a vision, and a goal that was solidified into steps, and I was checking the check boxes as far as I could. But life. And I think I told you guys maybe about 10 years ago, God was like, look, why are you setting a 5-year plan without me? So for me, I stopped setting those long-term plans, those specific long-term plans. And it wasn't because I no longer think planning and goal setting is important. It was because I recognized that in the space and the place that I was, I needed a vision, right, in order to set goals and plans for my life. But that didn't mean that I didn't have small things that I wanted to accomplish, things that I wanted to see happen for my life, things that I wanted to see change. For many of us, we've been living lives where we've gotten into a routine. I have a lot of kids. I have a big house, a big life. I have a lot going on my daily basis. And none of those things are simple. None of those things would even be possible without structure and a partner. But there are some routines and habits that we can easily fall into that will detract from the goals that we want to achieve. And what I've found, at least in the last 7 to 10 years, is that micro goals are the way to achieve the big goals. So, focusing on what I want to do versus what I don't want to do, focusing on one extra thing that I can do. And instead of saying, I'm going to substitute kale chips for fries or popcorn or whatever it is you enjoy eating, what I found, and this was actually something that was recommended by my nutritionist, is that I set a goal for how much protein I want to eat and how much water I'm going to drink. And then everything else, as she said, will fall into place. And it was weird because I thought, this doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to be eating a big pile of meat and I'll probably then go eat some potatoes. But my brain doesn't work like that. As I'm focusing on getting these 60 grams of protein in every day, I'm finding that I'm shifting my focus to doing that. And so I find myself snacking less, eating less things, because then I won't have space, right, to get in my 60 grams of protein. And I thought, well, I'll probably, eat my rice or my pasta or whatever. No, I'm like, well, I've eaten meat. Now I should eat some vegetables. And if you're trying to get in 60 grams of protein, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big hunk of meat eater. So I'm eating tuna, I'm eating eggs, I'm eating all kinds of stuff. And by the time I finish that and my spinach and my salad and my fruit or whatever, my Greek yogurt, whatever it is, I'm kind of full. And I had set for the past 4 years, I had set goals to lose 30 pounds. I think that was my goal for the year for 2019, 2020, and 2021. Only 1 year I actually did it. I did it in 2020, but then I gained it back in 2021. And I was so frustrated and I was so overwhelmed. I was so confused by why I was not doing well at that. This is my nutritionist that I started seeing a year ago. And many of you have seen those ads. Just know a nutritionist typically will be covered by your insurance. If you are having issues and if you need to find a way to set goals that work for you, I highly recommend that. This is not a paid advertisement. I'm just letting you know I did see a nutritionist. And she told me, focus on what you can do. So I decided to apply that elsewhere in my life. I had been saying, I'm spending too much. I need to stop buying XYZ, whatever it was. I was like, I'm not eating out anymore. What happened when I started focusing on getting my 60 grams of protein in? I had to make sure I knew my macros in my food. So I started weighing and measuring my food. I thought I would never be doing that again. I've done diets where you had to do that. I was like, oh, this is ridiculous. I don't want to do this. I started doing it again. And there are times when I guesstimate, but I started weighing and measuring my food. I started packing my food. I ended up in this challenge with a girlfriend of mine where we had to eat certain intervals and certain types of food and no grains and all of this. And it wasn't keto. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I recognized that as I focused on getting in my protein and getting in my water and ensuring that I was properly logging what I was eating, not focusing on lowering calories, not focusing on lowering sodium or anything like that, I recognized that I stopped spending money on food because I couldn't log food that I bought out. I didn't know what was in it. So I looked up and I looked at my spending and I realized I had actually completely slashed my spending on eating out. I wasn't even going to Starbucks anymore. I know some people were boycotting Starbucks last year. I found out about that late. I was still going. But as I started focusing on what I was supposed to be eating and not what I didn't want to eat. So I didn't say, I'm not going to do sugar. I didn't say, I'm not going to do carbs. I said, I'm going to focus on getting 60 grams of protein and 64 to 90 ounces of water every day. And as I did that, I watched certain pieces start falling into place. And so my goal for you this year is, instead of saying what you're not going to do, or setting an unrealistic goal around something that you would like to see happen, like losing weight. Look at micro goals that you can set, things that will make you feel better. For some people, it's like, I think about why you want to lose weight. I'm sluggish, I'm tired, I'm not sleeping well, my skin is not in the best shape. I'm not doing what I would like to do. What is a micro goal that you can set around that? Micro goal one could be drink at least 75 ounces of water a day. But sometimes we don't set the micro goals because we're so focused on the big overarching goal, which is lose weight, feel better about myself. We could drink more water. We could focus on getting up. Now, I did not set a goal for a number of steps I wanted to get every day. My girlfriends and I always talk about doing 10,000 steps a day. I didn't set a step goal. I think actually I do have one on my watch, but I didn't increase it. I think it's like 6,500 or 7,500 steps. My goal is to close all the rings on my watch every day. I didn't increase that goal. I didn't set a big goal about going to the gym or lifting weights or running a marathon. I didn't set any goals around that stuff. I set micro goals. Get the protein, drink the water. So think about what it is that you want to accomplish and set a micro goal, because micro goals make you feel accomplished. If you have a goal that you've set that's in perpetuity, that you don't get any mini reward from, you're going to give it up. Going to the gym every day makes you hungry, which makes you eat more, which means when you get on the scale, you're not going to see a huge benefit to doing that. And that leads us to what? Quitter's Day. Because we need, as humans, our minds require small wins to keep going. So when I started focusing on getting my protein in and getting my water in, I didn't have room for sweets. I didn't have room for snacks. And the scale started moving. So that was my motivation to keep going. That was my, okay, I can do this. All I have to do, 60 ounces of protein, 64 ounces of water, and the weight will keep coming off no matter what else I do, right? So I want to focus you on what your micro goals have to be this year. Instead of saying, I'm going back to school to get my degree so that I can move up in my career, because it's not a dream. It is a goal. But it can be difficult for some people if you have some credits towards classes and don't know how to get back, or say you have thought about it, but you're not sure if your company covers tuition reimbursement. Your micro goal can be meet with my benefits rep and find out whether the degree that I was pursuing is covered by my company's tuition reimbursement plan. Your next micro goal could be reach out to the university that I was at and find out if I can re-enroll online or if there are flexible courses in the catalog that will allow me to finish my degree. Meet with an enrollment advisor. Micro goals allow you to have the immediate satisfaction of feeling like you got something accomplished. And where many of us are failing, even in our big age, is setting goals around what we want to see at the end, not what we want to see today. And so I want to encourage you, if you are thinking about, wondering about, worrying about, or maybe you've just decided this is a year where you're not going to focus on anything and you're just going to rest. And guess what? I'm here for that too. Resting still takes intention. I don't know about you, but I have a problem logging off work and ending my day. I have a problem not responding to emails on weekends and in the evenings. I have a problem locking in to do something that it is that I enjoy. If I'm not working, I feel guilty. So resting for me takes intention. And so one of my micro goals for this year is that in addition to my devotional and my journaling that I already do, I'm going to do 20 to 30 minutes of pleasure reading every day. Now, every day has been a stretch, but I'm still doing it because the immediate reward is I'm reading a book that I've been wanting to read, and I'm getting some enjoyment out of it. So the micro goals have to have some proximate or immediate benefit to you that you will enjoy, and that's what will keep you going. I told myself when I lost, I think it was 50 pounds, that I would buy myself some boots. I hit my goal in September or so. And as soon as Black Friday came around and they had that sale, I got myself 2 new pair of boots. I haven't had a new pair of boots in 20 years, guys. So the satisfaction, right, of reaching the micro goal is a way to boost your dopamine and keep you moving in the direction of your dreams. So instead of setting big goals this year, guys, I want you to sit down. I want you to think about the ways that you can set micro goals. Instead of saying, I'm not going to fight with my husband, say this: when I see this, whatever the behavior is that's triggering, I'm going to say this. Babe, it makes me feel really disrespected when you do that. Practice it. Write it down, repeat it until it makes sense to you. If you want to live, one of my micro goals this year is to live in a space of gratitude. So when I get my devotional, both in my devotional time and in my journaling time, I start with my praise reports to God. I start with thanking God for everything that I can see. And one thing I have done to ensure that I always have something to be thankful for, right, is I prayed about seeing God's hand in every day. And it has changed my perspective in just a few weeks. And I think that this may be something that I can incorporate into my permanent practice. So micro goals, one, are small enough that they are doable in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They give you some sort of an immediate or proximal reward that you can get within a very short time span so that your brain gets that dopamine hit from getting something out of it. And then 3, that makes it something that your brain wants to keep doing. That's another reason a lot of diets don't work, because people can only do certain things for a certain amount of time before they get bored, they get tired, or the ROI goes down. Have you guys ever hit a stall on a diet? I've been on a weight loss journey for 2 years now, and I hit a stall in which I lost and gained the same 5 pounds from July to September of this year. And I was so discouraged that I probably would have quit if that was it. But I decided I'm going to go back to basics. 60 ounces of protein, 64 ounces of water. You got to figure out what is going to work, what micro goal will continue to motivate you, and focus on that. So setting your course means that you look at the general direction in which you would like to go. And instead of turning the wheel hard left, hard right, trying to make a 180-degree turn in the middle of, on a yacht in the middle of the ocean, you just shift by degrees. You shift by degrees. And those little changes will result in big changes. Another micro goal I set for myself last year was take the stairs. Whenever I'm somewhere where stairs are an option and I'm not wearing heels and my feet don't hurt, I take the stairs. And it was a micro goal, but now it's something that I unconsciously do. Even if I'm wearing heels, even if my feet do hurt, I just take the stairs, unless I'm at work, because, I'm not going to the 10th floor in heels. But, but these small changes can produce permanent course redirections for your life in a way that will make a change. So when setting micro goals, remember, they need to be achievable and doable for you where you are right now. It needs to be small enough that you're going to see an immediate reaction from it, instead of saying, I'm not going to be late to work anymore. Remember, we're not focusing on what we're not going to do. Instead of saying, I'm going to get up at 5:30 a.m. every day. And this one came from my therapist, because I do that to myself every year, because I'm not a morning person. I've never been a morning person. I've always desired I've always wanted to be a morning person, only in the most esoteric manner, which is to say, I don't want to be a morning person. I just want to be able to be a morning person if I needed to be a morning person. And I'm not. My brain does not kick on until, let's just put it this way. There was a point in my life where I told my secretary, do not set me a single meeting before 10 a.m. And that was that. But over the years, I have gotten up when I needed to get up for jobs. And I think most of us do that. That doesn't mean we're happy about it. That doesn't mean we're functional. And that doesn't mean we're super productive. And so I was again contemplating this year because our church is doing a wonderful devotional series called Devoted, in which we get up and we study the Word of God in the mornings, just a morning encouragement and prayer, corporate prayer, praying for each other, praying with each other. It's been beautiful. And I wanted to get up at 6 a.m. to be on it. And it's really hard to get up at 6 a.m. to be on a prayer call when you went to bed at 2 a.m. And so I'm like, okay, well, now I have to be in bed by 10:30, which never have I ever. So I'm here and I'm wondering, how am I going to do these two things? And I'm going through it with my therapist and I'm saying, well, I'm really upset because I need to be up at 6 a.m. every morning, but I'm so tired and it's messing up my day and I'm frustrated. And she said, what time can you get up? I was like, well, I could get up at 7. She was like, get up at 7. I was like, but then I miss it. She was like, but don't they stream it? I was like, yeah, but I want to be on live. She's like, do you have to be on live? I was like, no, but I really wanted to be on live. She's like, do you have to be on live? So micro goals need to be realistic to your life, because if you set a goal that is not realistic for you where you are right now, not only won't you achieve it and frustrate yourself, but you won't even make progress. Because as I've pointed out, Friday is Quitter's Day. So if you don't want to be a quitter, if you want to see and affect change in your life for this year, whether it's in your financial health, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, it's time to set some micro goals. You guys know that I'm going to tell you to get a journal, get a book, begin a practice. I thought I would never be, sorry, my nose is itching. I thought I would never be a journaler. I would go to women's ministry events. I would go to women's empowerment events. I would go to self-improvement events, and they would always say, journal, 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 get a journal. And I had 15 around my house that I never used, and I wasn't making any progress. And every year I would journal 3 pages, and I would pick up that same journal the next year. And I didn't write anything and I didn't make a difference and I wasn't able to move forward. I started journaling in 2020 pretty consistently. And since then, I've noticed that not only am I able to track the changes that have been made in my life, in the way that I think and in the way that I move and in my growth, I'm also able to see the way that the journaling has changed my practice. And that practice can be, for me, it's my spiritual practice, but it could be your business. It could be your mental health. It could be your emotional health and how you process things. Journaling has so many positive effects because we are literally writing a vision. Many times we don't we're not in middle school anymore. We're not writing down who did what and why we're upset about it. We're writing down where we are, where we feel like we should have been by now, or where we wish we were, and what we want to do about it. And I encourage you to do that. And I'm a God girl, so I'm going to say do it with God, because I believe that you can do anything, but you can't do everything, and you have to choose wisely. So if you are finding yourself off course in uncharted waters, in a place that you never thought that you were, it's time to make some course corrections. And part of that is going to require setting your course on a micro goal. I don't think that it's wrong to have a macro goal that's underlying your micro goal, but those people who set the small goals, who set the achievable things, who get those early consistent wins, are the ones who eventually change their lives. And I want to count you in that number. I want to count me in that number. That's why this year is the year of micro goals. I hope that you can find a way to set some for yourself, whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Remember, you don't have to do it all in one year. Rome wasn't built in a day or a year or a decade. However, small course corrections can place you on the path to leaps and bounds changing in your life I'm not going to say in a moment, but I have seen my life change exponentially in the course of a few months because of course corrections. Course corrections are really preparation. It's preparing you mentally, and it's preparing you in your habits to be where it is you want to be. No matter what it is that you need to cut out, no matter what it is that you want to achieve, if you focus on doing 1 to 3, I don't know why I put up 5 fingers, 1 to 3 positive things every single day, you will set your course for your goal and you will achieve it. And I want to hear about it when you do. So comment goals below. Let me know what your goal is for 2025, even if it's a macro goal. But if you have a macro goal, find a way to break it down to 2 to 3 micro goals and see if you don't see change happen faster when you get those little wins. That's the difference between people who quit and people who don't. We set achievable goals. We celebrate our wins every time. And we just keep going. Set your course and then keep course correcting until you're going in the direction of your dreams. I hope this has been helpful, guys. Happy New Year for the 3rd time and hopefully the last time. And I'll see you next week for Wisdom Wednesday. Good night.